Welcome to the Maximum Edge Sports Wagering Show. My name is John Santucci. Call me Tooch. I have an awesome guest tonight. Anthony and I, Anthony's in the sidecar. We have this guy right here. And Jim, thank you for your time. We know we're talking before the show, and I made a bold proclamation that Three Man Weave is the best show out there for college basketball analysis, information.
Definitely.
A lot of times I don't put a bet in until after the show. Of course, sometimes you guys, there's some games going on while you guys are talking. But, how are you tonight? The bet's in tonight already?
Yeah, bets are in. And I appreciate the high praise, man. It doesn't get higher than that. So definitely appreciate it. We do the best we can. I mean, that's what we want people to come for is information. Obviously, we give some picks, but I want people to come like you with a discerning mind, thinking about whether you agree with us, whether you don't. And if you do, and we're on the same side, then that's great. But if you think we sound like idiots talking about a game, bet the other side by all means. I am not an absolute like limitless wagerer with no flaws. So I will get plenty of games wrong, and if you can sniff those out, then more power to you.
All right. Well, Anthony here from Powdet Sports. Anthony and I do a lot of collaborating on college basketball for our client cards. Anthony, a great weekend for us, both of us. Yesterday,
not Sunday. Sunday wasn't so.
Well, let me get to Sunday. Sunday, we should have been 6-2 instead of 3-5, but we missed a couple by just a few.
A point. I've never missed so many games on one day within 2 points. Like the All-Star game over. We had over 324. It ended at 323. That was over 200 points at halftime. How the hell did they not score 60 points apiece in the second half? And then the second one, they Stony Brook over. I mean, we're 2 points off. I'm like, are you kidding me? 2 points off.
4 missed free throws.
I mean,
4 missed free throws at the end.
That'll kill you. The All-Star game was tough because that the artificial cap, the final score, the target score that they play to, it's like as soon as they announce the score, you're like, well, there's only so many points we can get to. It's tough.
And then we had Mississippi State over Jim's Missouri Tigers. I'm wearing my Mizzou shirt for Jim tonight.
We had Mississippi State. Had Mississippi State. Even though they
money line, I hope.
No,
we're on the other side of that one.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what my Tigers do. They don't win, but they still frustrate you. That's great.
Yeah.
Let's see. We're going to talk about our first game is Northern Colorado and Idaho State in a rematch. We talked about this one with Kai on Thursday, and Anthony has lovingly called Northern Colorado my team because I love they shoot the lights out. Jim, you got Matt Johnson and Bodie Hume and Dalen Kuntz, who's probably one of the best players in Big Sky. Then Idaho State, Anthony and I were on the wrong side of that one last week. I was like, how the heck is Idaho State going to outscore Northern Colorado? But they played some tough defense. They out-rebounded the Bears. Does North Carolina get revenge tonight? I know the numbers moved from 12 to 14 already.
Colorado.
Certainly feel like they should. Idaho State's been a tough team for us, kind of whack-a-mole, where coming into the year, it's like, okay, they brought everybody back from a team that went 8-6 in the league. You'd think they should go at least 500 or so, be right around in the middle of the same mix where they were. And instead, for a while, they were pathetic. Like they didn't win a Division I game until January 15th. Just a complete travesty. And they went on a COVID pause at the end of January. It was short. It wasn't like one of the multi-week ones. Then they came back from that and they beat Montana. And they beat Idaho. And then, like you said, last week, they got the Northern Colorado win. So maybe they're trending up to where we thought they could get to in the preseason just because of what they had brought back. But Northern Colorado is just better. Like, I love the talent they have. You mentioned Kuntz. He's kind of taken a serious leap this year compared to last year. He was just one of the guys for them, and now he is the guy. And having him be the creator with shooters around him, Jan Kuch is a nice shot blocker up front.
Right.
They're just better. Like I have a hard time seeing the same thing happen as last game where it was a slog, really, really slow game, sub 120 points. That's so rare for Northern Colorado.
Yeah.
I think they're able to speed it up more at home. And when it's to their tempo, that's when they can really run Idaho State off the floor.
Right. Anthony, you talked about how you like the over in this game, but you're not sure if Idaho State can score enough.
That's my only worry. Last Thursday, like you said, we had Northern Colorado -7 in Idaho State. And Idaho State screwed us over for the second time this season. Probably the second time in the past month. I think we had them another
Montana
game and they
State.
beat us outright. Yeah, versus Montana State. And then we took Idaho State on Saturday -3 when they were at home versus Sacramento State, and they couldn't win that game. But they can beat Northern Colorado. So I was like, you got to be effing kidding me right now. So now they're on the road +14. So Idaho State is 1-12 on the road. And this is when I'm definitely going to pile it on and fade them. And I'm hoping Northern Colorado comes, runs, and beats the shit out of them personally. Just for all the pain and suffering the past 2 games I've had to deal with Idaho State. So, yes, Northern Colorado. If Northern Colorado can get in the 80s, I feel like this can go over. But I don't think Idaho State's going to hit the 70s. That's my only worry about the over.
Yeah, it's tough. The interesting thing last year we saw with the COVID scheduling where teams played like immediately back to back. If one game went under and they moved the total down, you could almost auto bet the over on the second leg because it was just clearly they'd overcompensated. That first game wasn't really that telling. You should just stick with the same total. This game they played just under a week ago and the total is 146. It went under. Now we got 144.5. I think that tells you maybe look at the over there because 146 is probably the better total. So if you're getting 1.5 of value, I think that matters.
Right. I am very tempted by betting now. I love watching Northern Colorado shoot. It's just they do not miss. Sometimes they get hot. It's like they can put up 12-0 run in like 2 minutes. A minute, 2 minutes, 12-0, whatever.
Yeah, the game against Southern Utah last week was like the best example. They were up big at halftime, gave up a 23-4 run, and then the end of the game they went like 28-5. Like it could shift on a dime like that.
And that's the game we're talking
17
about.
with 7 minutes left. They were down 17 and came back and won by 5 or 7 or whatever it was.
Yep.
And I was like, holy crap. So that opened our eyes on Colorado personally.
That's the game where we looked at the totals at 156 and both these teams score like 80 points regularly. And it's got to be, it looked so easy. The bet looked so easy that we were kind of scared to make the bet. We made the bet anyways. And I put quite some units on, I think 5 units at least. But let's move on.
Cashed it with 5 minutes left. That's comfy.
Right, exactly. Yep. Wasn't sweaty at all. TCU and West Virginia. Let's talk about this one. I know TCU kind of a surprise team, but I'm looking at this game. These two teams are very evenly matched. I mean, you're looking at 38th and 39th in defensive, or 38th and 37th in defensive efficiency, and 110th and 109th in offensive efficiency. They're right next to each other. Do you expect Jim maybe an under? When I think of these two teams, I think defense.
Yeah, I kind of like that. The one injury news thing that we saw is Eddie Lampkin is out for TCU. He's their big kind of bruiser guy. And you take out a big maybe defensive piece and just somebody that's more lumbering and could slow the game down. Maybe they play a little faster. So that would scare me off the under maybe a little bit just because, maybe they play more small ball. And if they're getting up and down, that would help the over. And then just from a side perspective, too, I think he matters a lot. We talked on our show this morning about how TCU could crush him on the offensive glass. But Lampkin's kind of the guy that does that. He's the big load on the glass, and you take him out. Maybe that edge isn't there anymore. But I don't have a great appetite for West Virginia right now. They've really, really struggled lately. I think they've covered 2 of their last 10 games. They're 2-6 against the spread on the road. TCU's got more to play for with being right in the tournament bubble picture. So this one, I think I'm staying away, but if I had to bet it, it would be TCU.
Anthony, you were on TCU early. Like Jim said, I didn't. Yeah, early in the season, you were on TCU. I didn't know about Lampkin that he was out. So I don't believe I put a bet in here.
As you said that's what I was looking at, and I'm looking at the previous scores. The 2 games that he was out previously was Oklahoma. He played versus Oklahoma State. He played versus Baylor, and he is a stud. There's no joke. We're at 100%. The 2 games he did not play, they lost to Iowa State at home. He didn't play, and they lost to Texas Tech, which they had no chance versus Texas Tech regardless. But they could have won that game with Iowa State if Lampkin was playing. So now that hearing the news that he's not playing, it just went from a pass to I'm kind of leaning West Virginia +4. If there's no big man to guard the middle, I mean, that's TCU's bread and butter. I mean, just look at the previous games. That tells you everything. Lampkin is the big guy in the middle. West Virginia +4 might be the play in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I like normally I like Bob Huggins coach teams. Remember all those years he was with Cincinnati, and you think defense and defense and defense. He's brought the defensive mindset to West Virginia. Both these teams are coming off a 3-game losing streak. I mean, like Jim said, though, TCU needs this game a little bit more. They're at home, the home crowd. I'm not sure what sort of an environment is there. I forget the name. Is it Schellerheim or something like that? Is that the right name?
What is it? Yeah, Scholmeyer.
Schellerheim.
Yeah.
Something Nordic. But Jim, would you take the points with February kind of road dogs? And like we said, taking the dogs conference play.
Yeah, I'd probably like a bigger number for West Virginia. I think what I'd seen for their numbers as a dog in conference play is they're 1-8 against the spread as a dog in league play, and the one they covered was like +12. I think they were playing somebody better. I can't remember who, but that's only 4 one possession game. Maybe you get it. It's just this is a game where I probably don't have a strong enough opinion to bet it. Is where I end up landing. Unfortunately, I know that's the boring answer, but sometimes that's the right answer.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Sometimes Anthony always says sometimes the best bet you make is the bet you don't make.
What I like to do, and I told Tooch, the game that you want to play but you don't want to bet, write it down on a piece of paper, circle it, and see it the next morning, see if you won. That is the best way to do it. This way, you're not tempted to actually bet it. Write it down. So
yeah, and I think it's also you can start tracking that too. If those plays are always hitting, or they're going like 60%. Maybe you should start playing them, give yourself a little bit of freedom, but it's good to track it so and you actually have some numbers when you're getting frustrated or wondering if you should bet them.
Right. All right. Great analysis, both of you. Let's move on to Baylor and Oklahoma State. Baylor, this is what you're looking for. 7th in offensive efficiency, 16th in adjusted defensive efficiency. So 2 top 20 numbers. It usually signals, a nice run in the tournament. And then, Oklahoma State, not bad defensively either, 19th in adjusted defensive efficiency. Offense, not as good as Baylor. I like Baylor in this one, man, but it's the injury questions, Jim, that give me pause, with Cryer. And, of course, they lost a great player for the season, and I can't pronounce his name, but
Tchamwa Tchatchoua.
I'm even going to try. And then Matthew Myers.
I was watching that game. Oh my God, that injury! Oh,
yeah, I'm very queasy with injuries. Like if I see something bad with a knee or like any sort of like arm break where it goes the wrong way, I never want to see it again. It'll make me never play basketball again because I'm worried about it happening to me. I remember the Kevin Ware injury for Louisville. I didn't play basketball for 2 weeks. Like, what if it happens to me? I don't know. I was nervous.
Oh, that was the worst. That was like Gordon Hayward in the NBA. Right after that, I was like, oh my God, twice in 1 year. Oh.
Right. You're like, is this just happening more now? Maybe I shouldn't play. That's not a fan. But you mentioned the injuries. I think that's very important with Baylor. I was just trying to check on Flagler and Cryer while we're recording this, and Scott Drew says, I think we will have more information in the next week to know what the exact game plan is with him. That's about Cryer. So it sounds like he's definitely not back. Okay. If there's already forecasting down a week, but Flagler's a game time decision. Would be great to get him back because they only played 6 guys really over the weekend. You want a little more depth than that. There's the revenge angle with Oklahoma State. They already lost at home to the Cowboys, so better team now going on the road, laying a shorter number. Certainly lean towards the Bears with that spot. I just would love to have Flagler out there. Just a little more offensive firepower against that Oklahoma State defense.
Right. The number's sitting at 5 right now. I still think Baylor. I mean, no matter how injured they are, the depth is. I mean, the talent even down. They have talent down the bench with young kids.
Yep.
I lean Baylor in this one. Anthony, what's your thoughts, real quick? before we move on to the
So-
final game?
The last Baylor game I watched was versus Texas, and I'm telling you, that was probably one of the most funnest games I've ever watched. I mean, they were just stripping Texas. They were just swatting the ball, getting the ball. I mean, everybody on the court for Baylor was contributing to the scoring. It wasn't just one man. They were all beasts. So Cryer being out, to me personally, not the end of the world, because it's just the next man up. But seeing Flagler, I mean, that dude runs around and he flies around. He puts his body on the line. That guy is an animal. I mean, all that dude needs is just a bunch of tattoos on his arm, and that's his personality. He is like a badass college basketball player. And he's probably going to be a badass in the NBA because the dude's just all out effort. If everyone gets to watch him, all out effort. So if Flagler plays, I love Baylor today. Love Baylor because
I'm with you.
I don't think he's the type of player that if he's hurt, he's really got to be hurt. If he's going to play, he's going to play through the pain. He's not a guy that's like, oh, coach, I can't play. He's not that type of player. You can just tell the way he plays. So if he doesn't play, I have to lean Oklahoma State, sadly. But if he plays, Baylor 1,000%.
Yeah, I think he matters that much where, you could be on one side or the other depending on if he's in.
Yeah, I tell you, I am so tempted to throw that bet in there. I might, like Anthony said, write it down and check it tomorrow. But
there we go. Or you're like me, you'll write it down and you'll still sweat it as though you actually bet it.
Hilarious.
I do that too. I hate to say it, yeah.
Let's talk about our last game and then give away a free play. All right, Arizona State catching 14 versus UCLA. Now, UCLA just destroyed the Huskies, but I'll tell you, man, it's like the Huskies shot like crap, man. There's like missed layup, missed free throws. They couldn't even come within 24 points of UCLA, and UCLA didn't have Juzang that game. Jim, why will and I love this bet. I'm on Arizona State tonight. I've already bet this game. Why will Arizona State come closer than Arizona? Arizona State than Washington.
Yeah, I think it's because they defend a lot better. They're going to make this game a lot more difficult on UCLA to score. It's weird. Bobby Hurley's teams in the past have been like guard you, a lot of backcourt firepower, not a whole lot of defensive intensity. And it's the complete opposite this year. They've got a nice front court with Boachi and Graham and some of those guys that they have up there that actually make you hit jumpers over the top. You're not getting easy buckets against them. And that's part of why Juzang's big for this one too, because he's one of the best, contested shot makers in the entire country. We saw it all through the NCAA tournament last year. If he's out, I love Arizona State even more. But even if he's in, I think Arizona State was so competitive in that first game, ended up beating them in triple overtime. There's some confidence that comes from that. They've been playing a lot better lately with a consistent rotation. Marion Jackson, the point guard off the bench, has been terrific, kind of living up to the hype that we had for him preseason. So it just feels like Arizona State's trending towards their preseason expectations, which is upper middle of the Pac-12 rather than the basement, which is where they seem destined after a couple of weeks.
Right on, Anthony. Which side are you on? And this is a low total. I swear when I wanted to bet the over in this game when it was 130, it's been bet up to 133. I think before showtime, I checked it again. I'm like, oh man, come on, 3 points already. But Anthony, any thoughts on the total, maybe? And what side are you on?
When I was making my card and making my bets this morning and this afternoon, finalizing the card, I had the over written down, but because I had so many games written down, I had to do an elimination. I would lean over, but I think the Arizona State plus 14 might be the better play overall. Playing the much better. I had them versus Oregon at home, which they were dogs. I had them versus Oregon State. I think that was the easiest money in a long time. Oregon, Arizona State versus Oregon State. That was a mismatch. But UCLA's been playing so good. I mean, winning the last two games by 20 and 26 points. And you know that last game very, very well.
Don't remind me. It was 17 points. Come on, I'm getting 17 points with Washington.
Yeah. I think Arizona State, man, they're on a mission. They got the momentum. Maybe that momentum is just enough to carry them. I don't think they're going to win, but they might be able to keep it within 12 points, 10 points loss. But 14 seems a little high. This isn't a Washington team. Washington State's nothing to, nothing to play about. Washington is a joke on offense. So I think Arizona State's going to open up UCLA's eyes because they've had really two easier matchups the last two games. So I like Arizona State plus 14 and the over.
Yeah. This feels a little similar to Oregon at Arizona this weekend. They're different calibers of teams. Like UCLA is probably a slight tier below Arizona. Arizona State's a little below Oregon, but the spread was right around 14. I didn't think Oregon would win, but it just felt crazy high, and they hung around the whole game, ended up coming up just short. But that's kind of how I envision this game as well, where Arizona State plays them tough and maybe doesn't get the victory in the end, but just the 14 is just too many.
Yeah, I was talking with Kai about Oregon. I was like, all the times I bet Oregon last year, and I'd be watching towards the end of the game, they just couldn't hit free throws at the end of the game. I'm like, come on, there goes my cover with the free throw shooting of Oregon. But Dana Altman looks to have the team pointed in the right direction. Is it a late season run for the Ducks, you think, towards the tournament?
I think so. And I actually, it's funny you ask. I just put a small wager on them, 15-1 to win the Pac-12 tournament. I think they've shown the ability to play with the best of the best in this league. They won at UCLA, they won at USC, and they almost won at Arizona. So now you put them on a neutral floor. Oregon's probably going to have their back against the wall a little more, maybe needing the tournament title to get into the NCAA tournament. So I kind of like that Oregon angle there. Altman trending up always late in the season. So if you're curious, I think that might be worth a look.
Very nice, man. You heard it here. Breaking news from Jim. Nice.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say about Oregon, if you watch Oregon, they live and die on their threes. If they miss a big portion of their threes, they're going to lose the game. If they hit their threes, because if anyone watches them day and day, they just throw the damn ball up there like it's like, what the hell are you doing? But they make them. So if they can hit their threes, and they can't win on the road, so they have to like dependent on it. So I think the neutral court is huge for them. So it's not a bad play at all, Jim, for the conference tournament, because I think it's even keel, and I think it's an advantage for them more than anything.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Speaking of USC, man, last night against Washington State, that very last second shot by the point guard on USC.
Boogie Ellis.
Boogie Ellis getting the and I just had him in a 2-team money line part. I'm like, USC's not going to cover even though. I mean, not even going to win outright. I thought they're going to lose outright.
Hey, while we're talking about UCLA, why don't you tell them about your Washington bet? I hate to remind you, but
no,
this is something.
Yeah, I had like when DraftKings gives you a free bet, and they had a 50% profit boost for like if steeped, so I've got like 9 teams and a 50% profit boost, and I'm buying points here and there, where and I had
a solid ticket.
It was a solid. I hit all of them. I get down to the end, and it's Washington at UCLA, and I'm like, I got Washington plus 24 for this last fucking thing, $15 bet, and it was paid like $600. I'm like, I text Anthony, but he was unavailable. He ghosted me, Jim. And
how dare you? How dare you?
I'm like, they're offering me $300 to cash out. Is 24 points enough? And I get back. I'm like, I go back to DraftKings. I'm like, I'm just gonna take fucking $300, take my wife out to dinner. And there was no cash out available. I'm like, fuck, all right, I'm fucking riding with Washington. It's like miss free throw, miss layup, and I'm like, they're not even going to cover.
They lost by 26.
Yeah,
I woke up the next morning, I saw his text, and I saw the score. I'm like, they lost by 26. Yeah. I was like, I would have told you to ride. I'm like, 24 points. That's a shit ton of points. I would have played it.
Yeah, I'm taking my girls to Disney World, and it's $600 would have gone a long way in Disney World, But
brutal.
I've got 2 toddlers, Jim, 3 and 5 girls. So,
that's one joy I don't have. So,
one day, patience. Yeah. I got 3 kids, and we will. I want to thank you first of all for your time, and we kept you longer than the thing. We'll give out a free play, and then let's give out a free play. Anthony, what do you say? Here we go.
Do it.
All right, free play tonight. Arizona State keeping it close versus UCLA plus 14. Hopefully that's enough. I'm not on the wrong end again, like I was the other night with with the Huskies. But Jim, hope you had fun with us, and hope you will consider coming back again to visit with Anthony and I. And if Matt decides to grace us with his presence,
you never know. He's a diva.
He is a diva. That's what I told Kai.
Yeah.
I was like, he is such a diva.
Yeah.
But thanks again. I know we kept you probably too long. Thank you for your time.
No problem.
And we will talk to you again soon, Anthony. Thanks again. And we'll see you later. Got a short exit, and then we're out of here. Thank you.
And I'm the team captain. He's the preview, and I'm the main attraction.
Unstoppable, unconquerable, on top of the world, accomplishing the impossible. Unstoppable, unconquerable, on top of the world, accomplishing the impossible.
Invincible hustle, mighty desire to conspire, to transpire.